Hello and welcome to Africa Today. I am Esther Mokwariola. From years of racial discrimination and intolerance to a dispensation of democratic freedom and hope, South Africa prides itself as a progressive rainbow nation where you virtually have the world in one place. But in recent years, that world has lost a sense of order as misplaced anger and unnecessary prejudice continue to inspire a wave of xenophobic attacks, ensuring that migrants of African origin are now the convenient scapegoats. And so we ask, what are your thoughts on concerns driven by the xenophobic attacks in South Africa, which remains a threat to the lives and livelihood of foreign nationals in that country? You can join the conversation and share your thoughts with us on Twitter at TVC News NG. We take a report now, and Africa Today will continue. Welcome on board.
South Africa is a melting pot of various races, cultures, creeds and backgrounds. That is why it is popularly referred to as Rainbow Nation. South Africa to many Africans is what America represents to many around the world, a land of opportunity. The country is a magnet for Congolese, Ethiopians, Malawians, Mozambicans, Somalis, Zimbabweans and even Nigerians. According to estimates, out of a population of about 51 million, the population of immigrants varies from 2 million to 5 million. But today the story is changing. The country is suffering from a malady called xenophobia, a deep-rooted fear towards foreigners. The question on the lips of most Nigerians is what happened to African brotherhood? How did the relationship with Nigerians turn sour, especially when Nigerian resources were used to secure South Africans' freedom from the apartheid stranglehold? In 1994 and 1995, gangs of armed youths destroyed the homes of foreign nationals living in Johannesburg and demanding that the police repatriate them to their home countries. In May of 2008, violence began in Alexandria Township when locals attacked immigrants from other African countries. At least 62 people were killed and 100,000 displaced in that attack. In 2015, another widely documented series of xenophobic attacks occurred following remarks by the Zulu king stating the migrants should pack their bags and leave.
Welcome back. In a country where xenophobia is not new, 2008 saw some of the worst attacks in South Africa's recent history. The tales of xenophobic attacks in South Africa is perhaps an indication of Africa is a complex continent where ethnic and regional division remains a threat to peaceful coexistence. Well, joining me in the studio on Africa Today, I have Honorable Adetola Olubajo, President, Nigeria Union, South Africa. Good to have you here on the program.
Thank you.
Now, the news of Nigerians being killed on a daily basis gets one worrying because we understand that there's been a level of the two governments trying to resolve these issues. And then again, we get to hear Nigerians being killed. Let me ask you this. How often are Nigerians killed in South Africa?
Sometimes it's actually weekly, according to the reports that we have in our secretariat, because we get reports from every provinces and major cities where we have Nigerian Union. You discover that if you have to look at it, it's an average of weekly or every 2 weeks you have a case of a violent death, whether being shot by unknown assailants or by police. And then the recent development is a situation whereby you see some Nigerians actually killing a fellow Nigerian.
Really? Why?
The reason is not known to us because these cases are not being taken to court. There is no prosecution. And so you will not be able, if there is no prosecution, that means there is no investigation. So you will just be speculating to say this is the reason. But we believe that it's because this thing has been going on unabated. So everybody have the effrontery now, the zeal to actually perpetrate the crime, because you know that when you shoot a Nigerian dead, the police will not investigate.
And that is quite worrying to see, because I understand that with the level of exposure in South Africa, one will be begging that the South African government and the authorities look into this. But what has been the level of importance that the South African government has given to these concerns?
Well, I would say from where we are and our assessment, that is not actually satisfactory, because South Africa has a very high prosecution rate. In 2015-2016, over 90% of prosecution rate. Yes, there are some high level of violence in South African society, but the police are actually up to the task. At every point in time, they investigate the matter, get the perpetrator, and then bring them to book. But in the case that involve foreign national and Nigeria in particular, we cannot lay our hands on reasons why this case are not being investigated. And that is what prompted us, when we were elected last year, to come up with an idea to say that let us actually follow the legal route, instead of the normal route of just making noise in the media, then you forget about it. So that's why we established a legal desk where people can actually access a free legal services.
Right.
We consulted some Nigerian practicing lawyers to come and give their pro bono to the Nigerians. And it's going on very well now. We are able to get some cases to court now, about 3 of them. And one of them is going to court very soon as well, according to the information I'm gathering from the police. And this has put some level of pressure on the perpetrators to say that it's not going to be business as usual.
Right.
You're not just going to shoot and you just go, no investigation, nothing. So we are now friend of the court to make sure that the perpetrators are brought to the book.
Now, for the other nationalities who are in South Africa, do they suffer the same treatment, harsh treatment from South Africans?
Yes. One cannot say, it would be very disingenuous for one to say that it's only Nigerians. But, you know, in case of Nigerians, it's more often than other nationals. And then we are more concerned about Nigerians.
Right.
But the African migrants, we have a forum where we meet and then we exchange ideas and actually sympathize with one another.
Right.
In times of these killings. But the level that we have gone into now is that we only talk about killings. There are so many other ill treatments that are meted out to our nationals.
What are those ill treatments?
Some of them will just unlawful arrest. Some of them, their property will just be seized for no reason. And then at the end of the day, the people will be bullied, because you cannot even get help from those who are supposed to protect you there, who are actually the government representatives there. And then they choose who to talk to, who to have interface with. And then they declare, in most cases, especially those ones in Johannesburg, they declare their citizens as criminals without going through the justice system.
Right.
You see, at the level at which we have actually reduced ourselves to. So it will be very difficult for you if the people that you are expecting to actually put pressure are not standing as an impediment for you to tell South African government to say, no, you have to do this. Charity, they say, begins at home.
And talking about charity beginning at home, what has been the response of the government to this issue, even though it has come out to, create an early warning signal during the last meeting it had with the South African Foreign Affairs Ministry? What other responses has the government done to these cases?
Well, on the case of early warning units, that was the brilliant idea by the Foreign Affairs Minister when he visited South Africa. And then he came up with the idea to say that the South African security cluster, the Nigerian government representative, and the Nigerian Union should actually meet periodically to be proactive instead of all these reactive measures. But it has not commenced up to date.
That's the early warning signal.
The early warning signal has not commenced.
Any reasons attached?
That I cannot say in my own, I cannot actually lay my hands on.
Right.
But we know that it's going to start very soon because we are getting a very positive response from the government, from our government.
So, but let's understand, what does the early warning signal entail, so that for us to understand what it is going to do for Nigerians in South Africa?
Is to gather intelligence. You know, for example, let me give you what is actually happening now. There are some group of people that actually, sometimes these things are not xenophobic attack. They are actually a syndicate of criminals that looks for a soft target to actually rob and maimed. And then in most cases, those of us that are on ground, that are in the community, we get such information before it happens. But we don't know, because in some cases, in few of the cases, you see this perpetrator conniving with the police. And then you don't even know who to talk to. And in most cases, our people are even afraid to go to the police. So when they bring such information to us, I want to believe that the early warning mechanism will take it there to say, these are the intelligence that we can be able to gather. And they being an expert, they will know how to actually, because in some cases you will have heard that the taxi drivers, the community, they said they are going to attack Nigerians, they are going to attack this one and so forth. So what we do in our own little capacity is to request a meeting with these groups. Immediately we hear that, we request a meeting with them and tell them to say, let's form a task force and combat this crime together. That we have a special crime combating mechanism within the union. We launched it in 2015 when it was approved at our National Congress in 2014. So we started in 2015. It's called War Against Criminal Activities, prostitution, child trafficking, drugs trafficking. And then we are always moving to hotspots like Sunnyside, Krugersdorp. We move to even Kimberley, to different places. We have helped to repatriate some destitute Nigerians that are actually embedded in those crimes. They were promised good lives. And when they get there, they were being held hostage, collect all their documents, and being used by these pimps. So when we go out to confront these people, you see some of them giving you their numbers, we give them, then they will call you to say, no, I want to leave this business. And those are little things that we can do. Right. But we believe that with the support of our government representatives, instead of involving in some unnecessary shenanigans and then psychophancy that cannot even be explained, you cannot understand.
Psychophancy, okay, we will come to that now. Let's quickly go on a very quick break. You're watching Africa Today, and we've been looking at the xenophobic attacks in South Africa, which remains a threat to the lives and livelihood of foreign nationals in that country. Stay with us. Welcome back. In a country where xenophobia is not new, one of the worst cases in recent times was in 2008 when Ernesto Alfabeto from Mozambique was burned alive to the full glare of the world. Well, the case was closed in October 2010 with the conclusion that there were no witnesses and no suspects, with a resultant lack of political will screaming through the short conclusion. Now, Adetola, before we went on break, you were saying something about psychophancy in the eyes of government. Could you explain to us what exactly you're trying to say in that?
What I was trying to say is just that there are high level of psychophancy within the community that is being condoned by the government representative in Johannesburg.
That's of Nigeria, right?
Yes. When I say government representative, I'm talking about the diplomat, those who are posted from Nigeria to come and represent and protect the interests of the homeland, which is the state, Nigeria. There are many people who actually arrogate some powers to themselves within the community. They don't have the mandate of the people. So what they do is to seek favor from these government officials. And then the new regime we have now there are actually looking for every means to deepen the division within the community, so that nobody will be able to ask them any question, to say, why are you not doing this? Because immediately you talk. For example, at a point in time, I was engaging them. We were
As the Nigerian
engaging them,
government
yes.
officials.
We're engaging them at every point in time. We write letter to them to say we want to see you. This is what is going on. When anything happens, we know the procedure.
Right.
What we do is to write a formal letter. So you will discover that they are not responding. There was a case of Calfontaine in Midrand. Midrand is about less than 20 kilometers from their office. And a woman and some group of Nigerians were given a quick notice to say you must leave that community. And they threatened their lives, to their means of livelihood. We wrote to them, they did not show up there. We had to go to the police and have meetings with them and persuade them, and then so that the people will not be attacked. If we had not been proactive in doing that, something else would have happened. And then in most cases, when you speak out to say that this thing cannot continue, you need to have the political will to actually confront this, then you become enemy.
Right.
You become enemy. You'll be termed as somebody that is anti-government.
How are you anti-government when you're talking about protecting the lives of ordinary Nigerians in South Africa? I'm trying to understand this.
That is the question they will be able to answer. In some cases, they will just gather some group of disgruntled elements. I call them disgruntled because some of them within the union, they wanted to take over power without election. They will say, no, it's my turn. And when you don't allow them, and some of them were disciplined because of their means of livelihood, because of their illegal activities. And then before you know it, they team up with these government officials and say, no, we have our own group now that we have to. So that's why I said that they are encouraging sycophancy of some few elements within the community.
Which is really sad because you're talking about lives at stake. And if the government is seen to be complicit here, what is the federal government doing? I mean, what extra step have you taken now to reach out to the government in power in Nigeria, telling them, look, hey, we have something much more than what you've been being told from your officials in South Africa? We
have limitations. The limitations that we have as a pressure group, as a community-based organization that protect the interests and welfare of Nigerians, is that we are not employed by the government. We cannot, at any point in time, assume the role and the duties of the government representative. We know our limitations. So the government of Nigeria gets information directly from their workers, because these are people that are employed by government to say, go and protect me there. But one thing that we have noticed and that makes us to speak out is this issue of misleading. There are misleading reports from these officials in Johannesburg. There are misleading reports to the federal government. In most cases, you will see that they are giving reports that these Nigerians that are killed are criminals. How can you say Ebuka is a criminal? Ebuka was set ablaze in April, and then he's a furniture maker. He was set ablaze in his business. He's a skilled Nigerian with a South African wife who is also having a good job with 2 children. And how can you say that Mr. Razak, late Mr. Razak Ajao, is a criminal? In Limpopo last year, just barely a year ago, he was also castrated, beaten, molested.
And I assume they were killed without fair trial.
Nobody is arrested. Not even one arrest. And that's why I said that we are pushing through the legal routes to say that let's use lawyers to actually put pressure here and there. But you know, the impediments that we are having now, in most cases, are the officials who are supposed to give full support, but they felt that we have to control whatever things that is going on, and we are not satisfied. We cannot sit down and be satisfied. You know, one of them even told me and said that what concerns you when somebody is killed? Then I find it difficult to understand what kind of human being is this? He said, no, you must be doing your programs. What program are you doing when your people are being killed every day? And the few people that felt that you cannot, because you see, this thing of being killed at every point in time, we have to understand that before you can tag somebody as being a criminal.
Right.
It has to go through the justice system.
Of course.
You see some people, even some faith-based organization leaders now, because of friendship with the consul general and the consular officer at the Johannesburg, and they will come and say that, no, you should talk about the criminal activities of Nigerians. And I asked them question, where were they when we are risking our life and that of our family to confront these criminals on the streets of Johannesburg and Victoria? But that should not stop us to say that let there be fair trials. Let there be fair trials. People are being killed every day. In Victoria, there is a particular location there. It's like a suburb, a local suburb, where 2 Nigerians were shot dead within a space of 2 weeks. And they are petty traders.
Now, with all that you've just reeled out, it's really disturbing because there have been efforts on the part of the government of Nigeria to resolve this issue. But what other punitive measures can be adopted if we are to tackle this matter headlong?
Prosecution. We need to insist on prosecution. If I commit a crime, I should be investigated, treated fairly, and be prosecuted. If the justice system declare me not guilty, so be it. If it declares the accused as being guilty, let the person face the full might of the law. And it will serve as a deterrent to whoever that is contemplating to perpetrate such crimes. Because I need to tell you, I need to reiterate again to say that this thing is not just done by foreign nationals or South Africans. Nigerians are shooting themselves now. They are killing themselves. And why? Because there is no any scapegoat. There is no any deterrent. You know you can do it. Immediately the Nigerians, they pack the file. They don't investigate it. And other punitive measures is for them to support the legal desk because it's working. Because now we now have a practicing lawyer who can actually ask the kind of question that I cannot have. I'm not a learned person in terms of legal matters. So, but we now have people that can go to the court as a friend of the court. We now have people that can petition even the Inspector General of Police that can actually go to the Ministry of Justice to say, this ABC happened, we want to know what government is doing.
And to corroborate or to add to these measures you've just stated, we also have some analysts, Nigerians, saying that perhaps the federal government needs to come out take a much stronger approach in terms of nationalizing some South African firms, for instance, and possibly calling the president on phone, that's President Buhari, calling the South African president on phone to give a stern warning that if this matter isn't well addressed, it could lead to a diplomatic row.
In most cases, though, let me start from there, we have been accused of causing diplomatic row, and we have not seen any. Rather, the diplomatic relation is becoming stronger. I will not want it to get to that level.
Really?
Because, you see, the African, we are supposed to work together and be great together. Because one of the impediments that is being put by our colonizer is to divide us. So I will not call for such an extreme measure. And you cannot lay blame on the doorstep of President Buhari and that of those let me borrow the words, Oga at the top that are sitting in Abuja, because their boys are not reporting the facts to them. Their boys are not telling them what is happening. They are hiding the truth from them. They even use some sycophants within the community to write false reports, so that it can cover up whatever. But we have taken a resolution to say that we will not keep quiet. That is our power. That is the only thing that we have, because we cannot take their position. So we are not going to keep quiet. We will continue to spread it, and we will want you, the press, the media, to actually help us, to actually spread this. We have facts. We have figures. We have every fact that we can put on the table, and they know because we give it to them. As we speak, because of our vocal, we have engaged them on a boardroom on so many occasions. And so I wouldn't want to commit sin against my God to say that the federal government has not done much, this, that, and so on and so forth, because there are misleading reports to them. There are contrasting reports. When federal government even comes and sends some people to come and investigate, you will discover that this same set of people will intercept them and then bring people to come and give them false reports.
Right. So, but in all, we will not keep quiet and we ensure that the government and other relevant authorities get to address this matter quickly as possible. Thank you very much, Adetola Olubajo, President, Nigeria Union South Africa. We appreciate your thoughts.
Thank you very much
on the program. Now, amidst economic uncertainties and emerging realities, the politics of survival have seen unjustified attacks, appalling victimization, and deplorable actions capable of raising the stakes of hate in the Rainbow Nation. Well, it is never too late to drop down the weapons of war, take up the instruments of peace, and then, hand in hand, begin to approach the future as partners in progress, because in the real sense of the word, we are one. And that is our package for today. But don't forget to join the conversation as usual on Twitter at TVC News NG, and also follow me for updates around Africa at Esther at TVC News. Until the next one, I am Esther Omokwariola, and always remember, Africa can only get better.